Hi, it's Peter from the festival team, and I'm here with Anabel Kutay, who is the filmmaker behind a great short film that we've just had the premiere of, called Doghouse. So thank you so much for joining me, Anabel.
Thanks for having me.
How are you today?
I'm absolutely over the moon because it's the first time I've seen my film on a big screen. It was a premiere today.
Amazing.
So I'm feeling quite elated, I have to say.
Great stuff. Do you mind seeing your own films or like things you've been in back? Because some people don't like it and won't watch it. What's your thoughts?
I do actually. I think because I'm an actress primarily, a lot of actors don't like watching themselves back, but I kind of managed to really separate myself from it, and I don't mind.
Great,
I don't see it as
approach.
Me.
Okay, just a good thing. So tell us the plot of Doghouse. What's the film about?
So Doghouse is about the most fabulous house share in London that you're ever likely to find. It's so perfect it doesn't exist. And a young northern lad called Toby who jumps at the chance to become one of the housemates in this house share. And then very quickly realises that all is not as perfect as he maybe thought. The housemates are a nightmare, they're messy, they're dirty, they have loud sex in the middle of the night, and they're generally just really creepy. And then things take a bit more of a sinister turn.
There's definitely something off about the flat.
There's something off about it, yeah.
So this felt like quite a lived-in experience. When I watched it, I thought this person knows these stories come from somewhere. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely inspired by all the London housemates I've had over the years that I've actually wanted to murder. I haven't, honestly. They're all alive and well.
This has been filmed, so don't trip yourself up.
Exactly. I think anyone can relate. Anyone that's lived in a London house share can kind of relate to that feeling of just pure hatred when you get a messy housemate.
So this is your directing debut.
Yeah.
So you're by trade an actress.
Yeah.
So what made you want to direct your own films?
I kind of got to a point where I had a few really nice film credits under my belt, and I had a whole long ballet career before I transferred to screen work. And things weren't happening quickly enough for me.
Okay.
I felt a bit of frustration. I was really lucky to have got my first few feature films in the bag and signed with an absolutely amazing agent. And then I felt a bit of frustration with the roles that I was booking. And I love to write, so I just thought I want to write the roles that I want to make. And then just make them somehow.
Was this the first film you've written, or is it like one of many projects that you've done?
I've written quite a lot over the last few years, and at the beginning of 2020 I was like, okay, now I've got to put this into action and somehow beg, borrow and steal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To make it happen with no money. So it came together quite smoothly, and I always think that if the path and the journey seems quite smooth, then you're going in the right direction, so I just went with that. Yeah,
we should mention this is in our cheap thrills section, so that means basically for films that have either got zero budget or micro budget.
Yeah.
So what was your budget?
Nothing. I only spent money on insurance because I was filming in my friend's house, and just in case people got injured or there was some kind of catastrophe. So that was my biggest expense. And then after that, actually submitting to film festivals, and I used a film festival strategist. So I put my money into that, my own money. But the actual making of, I did all the catering myself as well, so buying food for people, and wardrobe and props, but a bit of a secret. A lot of the costume in the film I bought and then took back afterwards.
Okay, well this is like, top tip kind of time for independent filmmakers. You end up doing all these kind of different crazy things to just make ends meet and get the project done. So I mean, might not strictly be legal, but that's a great tip. It's very.
Stylists do it all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Yeah, sure they do. Okay, so by trade you're an actress. What's some of your credits?
My first film was an American dance flick called High Strung, which was quite a nice transition because it was about a ballet school, and I played the nasty one. Okay. So that suited me.
You don't want to get typecast though.
Yeah, I am typecast as the evil one all the time. So that was my first film credit, and then I was in Paolo Sorrentino's Youth after that.
That's a great film.
It's amazing to film it.
Yeah.
With Harvey Keitel and Jane Fonda and Rachel Weisz on the set.
Amazing set.
Like magic.
Yeah, amazing cast, yeah.
And then Hold the Dark, and then I've done a lot of independent films and short films.
Yeah.
And in the last couple of years, a lot of short films, but that's my passion lies in indie film.
Cool. So let's talk about the casting of your film. How did you find these actors? There's some really great performances in there. They really do a good job.
Yeah, I was really lucky. Obviously, being an actor, I know a lot of actors. So Danny Crane, I actually knew from a few years ago. I was a dance captain on a musical film called Walking on Sunshine, which was it's a really good experience. I think when you're on set in any capacity, you really learn a lot. And from orchestrating massive dance numbers like that, it really gave me an opportunity to kind of watch and understand the process of filmmaking, and also meet a lot of really cool actors, including Danny, who agreed straight away to be in this film. So I'm really lucky that he supported me and trusted me enough to do it.
He does a great job. Yeah. He's kind of like the bumbling would-be victim, I think what I would call him. He sort of doesn't really know what he's getting himself into.
Yeah.
And things start and get worse, worse and worse.
And he's someone that you really warm to.
Yeah,
well.
He's got that kind of lovable kind of, you can connect with. Yeah. So, as an independent filmmaker, what's the best piece of advice that you've received, or even as an actress, maybe? What's the best piece of advice you've received, and what's the best piece that you would give?
The best piece of advice I've received, I don't feel like I've shared what I'm attempting to do with enough people for them to give me advice. So I have to say, there was a book I read recently from the Duplass brothers.
Okay,
and they say the cavalry isn't coming, which I really like.
Okay, that's good.
You basically just have to go out and do it yourself.
Yeah, I love that.
So I like to stick with that. And also an old acting agent of mine a few years ago told me that you can't fail if you just keep going. And I think that applies to not only acting but filmmaking and artistry.
And life.
And life.
Yeah.
So I kind of stick by those.
Okay. Fun question to end with. So we're at a horror festival, and obviously you say you like writing, dark, comedic films with horror inflections and that kind of stuff. What's some of your favourite films that? Was there any films you had in mind when you made Doghouse, or?
There weren't any films that I had in mind when I made it, actually. I just kind of wanted to go with whatever came into my head and not be too
swayed.
But my favourite horror films, I like the good old classics. Halloween I watch again and again. I just absolutely love it. I love the classic Scream films from the 90s. I watch those again and again.
Great fun.
And I also like the Scary Movie spin-offs as well.
Okay.
What else do I like? Carrie.
Some good picks there. Classics. All classics. Great stuff. Anabel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for submitting your film. I hope to see you again.
Thanks for picking it. It's been really fun.
Great stuff.